HFDA Academy. Design Dialog. Podcast formájában folytatódik a Magyar Divat és Design Ügynökség dizájnipari párbeszédeknek helyet adó kerekasztal beszélgetés sorozata, a Design Dialog.
I would like to welcome everyone at the newest episode of the HFDA Design Dialog podcast series, where we continue to wonder, where does design, both as a discipline and as an industry, headed? What are the most important challenges that we face? What are the trends that we create and follow? And how are the key figures of this sector are doing nowadays? In more and more European cities, visitors can come across exciting programs as part of design weeks, where not only local but also regional and in many cases international design brands are being introduced. For those interested in design in Hungary, October is about design. This year, however, Design Week Budapest was organized for the 17th time, to which the Hungarian Fashion and Design Agency joined for the third time as a professional partner. With the intention of creating a tradition, the agency organized the 360 Design Budapest exhibition for the first time within the framework of Budapest Design Week, in which 20 domestic and 4 international designers took the lead role in its offline and online exhibitions. I am your host Gregory, and it is my privilege to welcome some prominent figures of the European design scene. They are actively cooperating for cross-border design industry collaborations and are ready to share their experiences. Allow me to introduce the guests for this dialogue. Representing the Hungarian Design Week, we have Oswald Judit joining us from Budapest. From Helsinki Design Week, I'm happy to welcome Ani Korkman. Joining us today from the Paris Design Week, we have Frank Milo. And from Milan, we are proud to present Andrea David Kuman. Thank you so much for joining us and making time for this design dialogue. Obviously, the first question and the first round of opening statements, if you will, is going to be about the question that you get in most cases these days. How are you handling 2020 both as a professional and on a personal level? What are your major takeaways so far? So as an opening round, I would like to catch up with you. How can you handle both as a professional and on a personal level? Judith, would you be so kind as to share some experience?
Sure. So Budapest Design Week, as you might know, has been going on since, 17 years. And this was the very first time when we decided to make it mainly digital. But to be honest, we have been thinking about this for a while because we realized that in recent years there was a big paradigm shift of our audiences. So it was really difficult to attract people to come to physical events, even though we invited, very famous international designers or other personalities. They simply were very difficult to reach and to convince them to come. So we already were thinking a lot about going more digital and being present more actively on our social media channels and on our website, and to be able to react also in real time and to be able to offer contents that we otherwise can't. I also think that this is because of the generation issue. So I remember that 10 years ago, design was the buzzword. So everyone was coming to any events that included design. But today it's not the case anymore. Today it's more about sustainability and, of course, COVID this year. But the other issue is, as I mentioned, is the generational thing that I think young people don't need some other things that we want them to need. So I think instead of exhibitions or talks, they need more involvement or interactive things. Like we see that, for example, workshops have been increasing a lot last years, and also the digital ones, and also the ones that require your personal attendance. So if you have to create your own bag, that's the best and the most popular thing. So I think there's a lot of factors that were contributing to this year's changes. And I think that for us, COVID and the pandemic was a bit of an accelerator of something that would have happened maybe a few years later or maybe at a slower pace. but it would have happened anyway. What we did is that we focused our activities on our website. We have created a more interactive and more interesting website, and we created a lot of content for it, like videos, talks, webinars, online exhibitions, which were really interactive. You could click here and there was a video popping up and so on. And we see that it was successful, of course, but I'm sure that you are thinking likewise. I always see the room for improvement in every case.
I think it's safe to say that extroverts are taking a bigger hit. And I can certainly sympathize with that. And thank you so much to point out the three different aspects of the theme that we are dealing with, since it's one thing to talk about the designer's point of view, it's another thing to talk about the curator's point of view, but obviously we need to talk about the audience's point of view. So yes, generational considerations should be a part of this discussion as well. As we move on, I would like to ask Ani to tell us about what is happening on your end. How are you feeling about all this?
Well, hello from Helsinki, and thank you for that introduction. I kept nodding because there are so many points that I can really relate to. It's also Helsinki Design Week 17th year, and we just had our edition for this year in September. And definitely a year of learning for us as a team, as an organizer. And just like you were saying previously, this change was obviously inevitable, and there has already before, like pre-COVID, there's been an increasing amount of outdated, unsustainable practices, and COVID just sort of made us all run the changes a bit faster than initially was thought. And obviously from an ecological point of view, we are now forced to critically examine the entitlement of arranging these festivals anyway. But how it was for us this year, in Finland's COVID curve, September was a really good one. So we even managed to do a smaller scaled physical exhibition. Our main venue was the Olympic Stadium of Helsinki, and we had this big outdoor space to make an exhibition in, which turned out really quite well, considering the circumstances. But we as well have been now putting a lot of effort into improving our website and the online experience, and something that we will, of course, continue working with in the future. Personally, this year, I think for me, if you use the introvert-extrovert scale, I've been quite lucky because I'm quite introverted and actually enjoy being in silence. And we usually work with a big team in a large open space. I'm currently in our empty studio. We work in a big old customs warehouse, and there's usually about maybe 30 people in total.
What about you, Frank? Are you ready to share some personal perspective regarding 2020 and the COVID's effects on your industry?
In Paris, the Design Weeks takes place in September every year. And in fact, from the beginning of the pandemic, we have been very optimistic. When it started in Paris in March, we said, okay, so we are in March, so in September it will be finished. So we did everything to prepare the Design Week in the physical, normal way. And in fact, we have been very lucky because the pandemic was very slow at that time. So it was possible to organize exhibition and even some parties outside, and at that moment, the people in Paris have been very happy to restart with a kind of normal life. And so, few weeks after, it was very different. As you know, we are locked down now. Yes. But at that time, it was good. So. the context was what was different of what we have the previous years, because Maison et Objet, we have the Paris Design Week and we have Maison et Objet, and we are organizing the two events, coordinating the two events together. So it was not possible to organize the show in the physical way. We did it on digital, fully digital. And for this reason, we didn't add the visitors, foreign visitors coming to visit Maison et Objet during the Design Week. We had an audience, mainly French and Parisian audience. But regarding the digital aspect, we have a platform for 5 years now, named Maison et Objet and more. So it was a huge opportunity for us to develop it. During the Paris Design Week, we organized this digital fair based on this platform, and with the connection between the platform and the Design Week through a program of webinars. We made a lot of conferences physically in Paris, but with a connection on our community through the platform.
All right. Thank you so much for sharing and joining. And finally, all the way from Milan, Andrea, if you could pitch in, please share your thoughts in a broader sense regarding 2020.
Oh, thank you first of all for inviting me and having me here. Great to meet you all. Just an introduction. Milan Design Week does not have any director. It does not have a central organizer. There is Design Week is the togetherness of Salone del Mobile and Fuori Salone. Salone del Mobile is organized by Cosmit and is the main trade fair. And Salone del Mobile is the fair that sets the time and the calendar of the entire Design Week. But the contents of Design Week, especially of Fuori Salone, are actually anarchic. They are free. Any person, any brand who wants to organize something for Fuori Salone can actually do it without having to ask for permission. Of course, Fuori Salone was born around 1980s, and the Salone del Mobile, everybody knows, it starts 1961. So we have 40, 50 years, 60 years of experience. As fuorisalone.it, which is the main website of all Design Week activities, of information website about Milan's Design Week, we actually are a digital communication agency. Studio Labo, which is the agency that I'm part of and has designed fuorisalone.it as the website, we were digital natives. We are digital natives. So for us, it wasn't that hard to move everything in digital. What happened in Milan is that, first of all, Cosmit in April moved Salone del Mobile to June, hoping that the COVID situation would actually be manageable. Then we noticed that we were in the very peak of the first wave, and they canceled it completely, moving Salone del Mobile to April 2021. So we, as Fuori Salone, we organized a digital event on April, and then together with the city of Milan, we organized a hybrid event, Milano Design City, in September. For us, as fuorisalone.it, we actually are still living Fuori Salone, because we designed our exhibition in an articulate way. We have Fuori Salone TV, which is the content provider, so the live streaming of conferences, of talks, of presentations. Then we have Fuori Salone Meets, which is the collection of webinars and interactions between designers, between audiences, brands, and so on. And then we designed different formats like virtual showrooms, one-on-one chats and talks. So we grew a lot of different formats to answer to the need of design culture. And we also made available all these contents on demand. So anyone can go right now until the end of the year to view Fuori Salone and part of Milan's Design Week. So this just to give you a few coordinates.
My first real question is going to be about, and then we could, do this backwards. So starting with you, Andrea, could you please tell us, what do you think amidst all this craziness, all these challenges and hybrid conclusions that you used on your fields, what is the one major thing that is going to stay with us later on? And what is one major thing that is a trend right now, but is sure going to go away with the pandemic itself? Because these days we talk about how society, in this case design, obviously changes, but we cannot possibly think that all the weird stuff that we do in 2020 will carry on to the future. So again, I would like to ask every single one of you, starting with Andrea, what is the most important major thing that will stay with you? And what is at least one important thing that seems like really serious right now, but will actually fade away later on as we move on? What do you think?
Okay, the main thing we took home that thanks to digital platforms and hybrid events, we were able to deliver value in a very targeted way. So brands or businesses could actually see beforehand in digital platforms what they wanted to see, and then select beforehand what they wanted to see in real life, in a physical way. In this way, we didn't have all the chaos that usually there is in Milan's Design Week, where brand designers are just like all crowded and packed up in small streets. And so that was really a great thing. I think that being able to provide value and valuable content throughout the year is certainly an asset that we will take advantage of. As for a trend that I think will not really stay is the only digital or the pure digital experience. I mean, we all need human connection. We all need to touch objects. I think that the mood and the milieu that we have in Milan's Design Week, it's unrepeatable if not lived physically. I mean, you need to hear noises, see faces, smells, and whatever the city has to offer.
Okay, thank you so much. So on the one hand, it is a great thing to, again, as you already mentioned, to accelerate some of these things and make sure that people can actually prepare themselves for the experiences that you are going to give them, right? That is actually a positive outcome of the things that we are witnessing right now. And on the other hand, meta communication is key, and we need to witness the exhibition in real life. We need to witness the creators. Thank you. Frank, what do you think in your experience and in the mindset that you are having right now, what is the thing that will carry on and what is the thing that we sure to leave behind?
Yeah, the same. I think that the daily use of digital tools will stay. You know, just what we are doing now. Before the pandemic, no one used that kind of tool, and today, instead of spending time in the train to meet someone or in the metro to meet someone, to share, to discuss with people with this kind of tool. So all the daily use of this kind of digital tools will stay for sure. And you see, when we restart with the normal life, I think that more than ever people want to meet, want to interact, want to share, to smell trends, and in the communication with people, you see, there is all the non-verbal side of communication. And even if with this computer, you have just a part of the communication with people, and it's terribly frustrating. So I'm sure that when we will turn this page, the people will go more than ever to Milan, to London, to this events, to come back to the real life.
Annie, what do you think in your experiences? And I would like to focus on generational topics as well. What do you think? What is it that we will carry on, and what is it that we will just leave behind?
Well, one thing which is a massive thing really is that I'm sure we will all keep exploring the digital dimensions that we've been referring to. And for us at Helsinki, going online, going hybrid, with this phase, with this scale, it's a big deal for us. And then we consider it to be something that will be under development for several years to come. And obviously technology goes further, and we learn while we go, and hopefully we'll get new makers and developers to join us. The thing that hopefully will pass, which I would, as an optimist, would like to see will be something that's behind us very soon, is that this extreme uncertainty will be something that we just, in the end, learn to live with, and companies and designers will be able to make commitments again, because that's the thing that we really struggle with. And I could imagine quite a few of us relating to this issue, that it's really hard to make plans or really hard to make decisions, because we can't really make commitments, and it may even go into like practicalities. It might be challenging to commit into initiative that is an event, when events are hard to arrange. So I'm hoping that it will be easier to commit to future plans again.
Okay, thank you. And the same question is going for you, Judith, as well. What are your impressions so far about the trends that we ought to keep and the trends we ought to throw out once we leave this year and the pandemic?
I think we will have the same issue with digital going even more strong and relevant in the next years. But I think the one thing that will stay with us is the bigger impact of sustainability, because this year we stopped printing so many materials, we stopped building up exhibitions, we stopped distributing flags and brochures in 20,000 copies, which we initially thought that would be a bad thing, but shifting all of our marketing activities to online, we could reach our target group much better than before, and we also could be more sustainable in terms of producing less waste and to be more focused.
How will this acceleration of digitalization affect the international relationships? How are you finding yourself in this situation? Are you tempted to reach out more to your international peers? Are you handling these discussions in another way? Having that said, starting with Frank, could you please tell us how you look at these international relationships? Are you planning to even broaden the spectrum? What are your experiences so far?
We are developing some partnerships with others events in others design weeks, and we are crossing some programs with others design weeks, such as we do it with Madrid, the Madrid Design Festival, and with NYC by Design, the design week in New York in May. And so we do it in a physical. Basically, we try to produce a program and to invite another design week to welcome it. And now we we had no time to do it this time in September, but we would like to develop a program between different cities in a kind of workshop, a digital workshop gathering some cities on the same topic. And now it's quite easy and cheap to manage and to organize, and we are working on that for the coming Design Week in September 2021.
Andrea, could you pitch in regarding international relationships? What are your feelings so far about this?
As the Studio Lab, as Forisalone.it, we are actively developing relationships with China, with Middle East, with Southeast Asia, and different other either design weeks or brands or subjects who either wish to promote themselves, Italian subjects who wish to promote themselves abroad, or vice versa, international subjects who wish to come here. Digitally speaking, it has made it in some kind of way a more valuable kind of relationship. So you will be in contact even digitally with the people who you really value, and even more, even if it seems a paradox. And in this sense, I think that it's not really about the tools, it's rather about the relationship in itself. Like once you establish a relationship, once you're able to value the single relationship with any kind of subject you have, be it a brand, a designer, I don't know, a commerce chamber, an institution, then you can work your way out to provide the value, to find any kind of solution. Like I think that tools are in the background, then relationships are in the foreground, and those must be valued. Then you can find always a way out.
Okay, thank you so much. Andrea, you may touch down, because both Judith and Annie were really nudging, like, yeah, that is spoken like a wise man. So Judith, what do you think? I can sense that you have strong feelings about this subtopic.
Yes, because we have, in Budapest Design Week, we have a big mission. We want, instead of bringing the world to Milan or to Paris, we want to bring Hungary to the world, because I think there's still a lot to be done in this aspect, because Hungarian design is much less known as French or even Finnish or Italian design. So what we do usually with the international relations is to promote ourselves. We always bring international designers, and we always have a guest of honor country in every year's issue. But during the year, we strongly work with the Hungarian Design Council, which Budapest Design Week is the organizer of Budapest Design Week. We work on many projects that bring Hungarian design abroad. And I must say that this year was of paramount importance for us, because what I saw is that there was less content in terms of exhibitions, even events happening. So, for example, Milan wasn't happening at all. So all the magazines and all the blogs and all the websites were eager to see new talents and new things, and they needed the news. And we want to enforce this even more in the future.
Okay, thank you. And finally, Annie, you seem like you were enthusiastic about this one as well.
Yeah, well, to be honest, I guess I've never really, or us at Helsinki Design Week, we've never really considered the possibility to not be international, if that makes sense. We've always made everything from the very beginning. We've always made it international and in collaboration with several different stakeholders from different places. And we even discuss, I don't know if that really translates quite well, but we discussed this interactive internalization, where instead of making something here and then taking that somewhere, we from the very beginning we make it in collaboration, interactively with others. But I guess with this year, like I can hear quite a few of my colleagues here have been working with, is that we have been working more and more with the local design community and really paid attention to what's here. And it's also been really valuable, and we've also learned a lot, I think.
I would like to talk about the impact of social media on the field of design. The fact that youngsters, even in their college years, their uni years, their junior years, can build up such a strong audience, such a loyal audience with their craftsmanship. What is your take on social media's impact on your field? What is your take on the pandemic's effect on social media, and so on? What are the changes right now, and what do you think, what are the long-term effects of social media on design itself?
I'm not the communications person here. She would know the answer to this one. But when it comes to going online and when it comes to making content that can be shared and liked and even joined in, I think it's a real struggle because in online, as maybe someone here was already saying, that you compete with everything that's taking place in your phone already or in the laptop already. There's all these notifications and emails coming in, but also the content tends to be quite good. You know, like you referred to students still in school being able to create a big following, sharing content that's really high quality. When we go online as well, and when we present our talks and webinars or online exhibitions, they have to be really well made because the competition, you know, is quite loud online.
Andrea, your thoughts about the issue?
Yes, regarding social media, I guess it might be useful to just, let's say, drill down what we mean by social media and the multiple aims that social media can aim at while speaking about promoting design. Because on our hand, we have, for instance, brands who have very specific aims, which might be more related to sales and marketing their brand. We have students which use social media more as collaborative tools in order to share ideas, in order to construct something maybe together with the multiple functionalities that social media have. Then there is all the part related to promoting design culture, which is in Milan, of course, a very huge thing, cultura del progetto. And so we have multiple subjects who are competing for multiple aims. And in this sense, social media are an extremely useful tool. But when going down practical, one must actually define what you're using social media for, the right tool for the right aim. So it would be much more useful to figure out which social media to be on, what aim you're using it for. It offers multiple possibilities.
Okay. Have you ever had the feeling when you've seen a certain piece of design that, okay, this could have never been done in an era where digitalization, where social media wasn't having this huge impact? Have you ever had this feeling lately, looking at a piece of design, saying, okay, this is so 2020. This like it's a testament of what we are going through?
Oh, well, definitely yes. Yes and no. Like, I guess that rather than social media, it's digital media or computers that have enabled us to design different things and to envision different things. So we have also advances in material technologies, in construction technologies that enable us to actually construct and build different objects that were unforeseeable before. I always like to go and see how people in the 1950s or 1960s imagined the future, imagine 2020. And then you realize that actually it's something really different from what they imagined it. On the other hand, definitely social media are a huge platform to find and take advantage of trends. So you can start finding on social media the first hints of something that it's going to build up to become a trend. And in that case, it's a very useful, like, cool hunting tool, let's say, so to speak.
How do design weeks have to change their style, their communication in times like this?
Oh, that's $1 million question. Like, and as an answer, please tell me, because we might become rich for this question. Like,
Okay, it seems like Judith is going to make you rich because she has something to say about this one.
I have a lot of things to say about this one. First of all, I agree with Annie because the bigger the noise, the better we have to be. So we need to force ourselves and force ourselves to find the best talent and to promote it in the best way and to put it in the best content possible. But this whole social media thing is also a very controversial issue for me because what I see is that it's not always the talent and the quality that wins, but the ones who can gain more attention or who are more aggressive or who can pay more for advertising, and that's I don't think it's a fair thing. Of course, there was always things like this even when we only had magazines and we didn't have internet before, but that's a serious issue that we deal with, especially now that objects are only designed in a digital way, and you cannot even tell all the time if it's a real project or real object or only a project that was made in a computer. So I think it's a very, very touchy topic. And back to your second question about what we can do with social media is that we differentiate our messages very much. What I see recently is that LinkedIn is coming up in Hungary. It wasn't that popular in the last years because I think business has reached the design world in Hungary now, or in recent years. But we have to focus our communication on LinkedIn to the business-to-business things. Speaking about, I don't know, money and numbers of how many objects did this company sell or so on. And of course, on Facebook, we have to address a different target audience and so on and so on. In Hungary, even because of the language, Twitter is not really relevant because we have very, very long words, and Twitter is not really the best platform for that. What I see is that Instagram is the main platform at the moment, and I think that will stay so with the videos coming more and the stories coming more important and relevant in the next months, simply because if you just hold your phones, you don't even have to do anything. You just have to watch because it moves and it does. You don't even have to, scroll with your finger anymore. People are getting more lazy. So we need to make better content and more differentiated content to promote on different platforms and channels to our audiences. That's the thing that we need to do.
Thank you. Frank, what is your take on the issue?
Yes, for sure. We use the social media as tools to communicate. But I think that I'm very impressed about you are talking about Instagram, about the globalization of aesthetics. There is behind when you visit all those social medias, you see that internationally the tastes are more and more exactly the same, and it's something bad, I think. And the question behind, I think, is what are we communicating through an event such as the Design Week? What is the mission? We can see that before, when I was a child, we had an idea of progress, the progress of technology, the progress of industry, the progress of knowledge was a promise of better life. And today it's finished. It's finished in Europe. And still, we are now very suspicious about progress of technology, progress of digital progress. Not sure it will bring better life because it impacts sustainability, it impacts many things, our life. And so I think that today the value of a better future is bringing by design. If we agree with this idea that the mission of design is to propose, to make proposal for better life, design weeks need to communicate this proposal and to focus on through the social media, but with any other tool to share this idea.
We have arrived to the issue of the postmodern all of a sudden. So there is saying something. Andrea, what would you like to add?
I would like just to be a little bit provocative to what Judith said, because I'm not so sure about how social media have enabled the people and the brands who have more money or make more noise to emerge more. I think that just the skill sets have changed. So even 50 years ago, before social media, if you had a lot of money to print a lot of flyers, or if you have a lot of money to go all around the world, of course you had more power to promote your object. So actually the thing that has changed is not then again the correctness or the quality of design. Bad design can always be promoted if you have resources. What has changed is that 50 years ago, 20 years ago, you needed different skills. Today, you need skills that are related to digital communication, to social media communication. And I totally agree with the idea of the importance of Instagram. We noticed, for instance, that another, maybe more niche platform works a lot, which is Pinterest, is an inspirational platform that helps a lot designers to work. And I loved what Frank said about globalization. I think that social media had an impact not much in globalizing design at large, but in connecting the design communities globally, which means that they have even become more self-referential at times. And maybe this is my worry, that design communities all around the world are just creating these walls around them and becoming too much of self-referential. What I'm really curious about the future is how we will be able to promote design and design weeks and design culture through vocal assistants. So through Google Home, through Alexa, already a lot of products are being sold through these new interfaces. So the future is how are we going to promote design weeks through, or design objects through videos, through vocal interfaces, through new tools that are coming.
Okay, you did?
Sorry, it's just I didn't want to say that who pays more is getting more attention. It was, of course, always like this, because even if when we had magazines 20 years ago, of course, there was ads of the big companies all over. But if you had talent, you could you could get in. But I see these as big dangers nowadays, and also that you have mentioned that we are all connected internationally. I also see a generalization of design. So I see less and less the local qualities, the local aspects, the local style. Because, 20 years ago, you could tell if a design is French or Scandinavian or Italian. Now it's not the case. And especially the young people who are on social media all day, and they get inspiration from everywhere, from Behance to Pinterest and Instagram. You can never tell if they are coming from here or there, which is, of course, a good thing, because then they will be able to adapt more to an international market. But, of course, they are also losing something. I'm very critical and skeptical with the social media in these terms, because globalization is having these disadvantages that it brings to us, also in terms of design.
This is the essence of a dialogue, right? Thank you so much for passing the ball to each other. I would like to go on and switch to storytelling time. I would like to ask each and every one of you to give us specific short stories about the craziness, the uniqueness of organizing Design Week. this year. So tell us anything regarding your colleagues, the designers themselves, the objects themselves. Is there anything that are worth mentioning because it was unique, it was weird, it was unusual? What are your takeaways of actually putting together Design Week this year?
So I think this year what we all needed to learn is flexibility and quick reactions. So what the most crazy thing was this, what Annie has mentioned, is that we couldn't plan the future and we couldn't make plans at all. So basically we decided in June to make Budapest Design Week digital, which means that we had only 3 months to make it, which is a challenge in itself, especially in the summer when also the designers are away. And so it was a bit difficult. But I would say the biggest difficulty was that nobody knew what to do or how to do it. So people were calling me all day, every day. We want to participate, but what do you think? We should do a real exhibition or an online exhibition, or we could do a webinar, or what do you suggest? And we couldn't suggest because we had no idea.
Uncertainty, then, I think, is one of the major buzzwords for this season. What about the experiences of our other guests? What can you tell us about the uniqueness of this Design Week, particularly?
When we started with the COVID in March, we have been locked down, so it was something incredible to stay home, and everybody was staying home just in front of the computer, like a window on the world, and. So it was it was terrible, and so we started with some organization involved in the promotion of design in France to discuss about the idea of collaboration to create an event, a national event. We had 25 cities working on this network, and to develop programs, conference, exhibition in different cities.
We haven't heard from Andrea or Annie. Both of you are owing us stories. We are here to cash in.
I'm just thinking that I suppose this crisis also make privileges quite visible. You know, you realize that you're actually quite lucky, or one can understand that, okay, things could actually be a lot worse. And something quite nice and quite heartwarming that we noticed was that there is a real, I don't know, in Finnish you would say a we spirit. I don't know if you say it in English, but there is a strong community here around design, and we and I suppose it takes some shaking to really understand and value what you have. So once then the pandemic began and we went into lockdown here as well in March, I think, or April, beginning of April, we decided that, okay, we changed the strategy and really take this supporting and bolstering the local design community into the core of everything that we do. And we noticed that once we started talking about this and communicating this, there was really a lot of help and support among even the design companies that could be seen as competitors with each other. So there was a lot of campaigns of online design sales or different other campaigns that were made together, and the sense of togetherness, which I hadn't experienced before, which was actually quite nice.
I think that we have followed the waves of the contagion. I mean, Cosmit and Salone del Mobile was moved in late February. It was the 25th of February, and it was planned to take place in mid-April. So we had just 1 month, 1.5 months to digitize everything. So it was just a crazy month. One of the craziest we ever lived, because by the end, eventually we had 400 brands almost participating in our digital Fuori Salone. So it was kind of a big deal dealing with everything. So we worked 24/7, Saturdays, Sundays, there was no holiday. But then as soon as the first wave just lowered down, we started to feel a great enthusiasm. We are the city also of Barbasso, of Cultura dell'Aperitivo. We love having aperitivo. A design week would be not a design week without having a drink together. And so we were just looking forward, and we couldn't wait for September, Milano Design City Edition. And that was some kind of understated, very targeted, very business-oriented edition. Now we are in the second wave, and so we started to feel again the uncertainty. I think that 2021 will still be a year of experimentation, of hybridization, of not so high investments in terms of installations, in terms of expenses to move around goods and people. But I think that the horizon is 2022 and a great return, a great comeback of aperitivo, people hugging, great installations of that mood that only Milan Design Week has.
Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Hungarian Fashion Design Agency, it was an absolute pleasure and privilege to have this dialogue with you. Please keep up the good work and keep on inspiring your surroundings and colleagues. Thank you so much. And as Andrea would say, I hope next time we have a discussion like this, we will be able to enjoy it in each other's real company with appetizers, obviously. Thank you so much and have a wonderful evening.
HFDA Academy. Design Dialog. Podcast formájában folytatódik a Magyar Divat és Design Ügynökség dizájnipari párbeszédeknek helyet adó kerekasztal beszélgetés sorozata, a Design Dialog.